As you know, I love a platinum trophy. The rush of mastering a game and getting that collectible accolade cementing it. The thing is though, sometimes, just a teeny tiny bit, I want to get involved with a game that isn't on the PlayStation. For now, this game is Pokémon. Granted, I haven't played a Pokémon game since Omega Ruby in 2014, but I'm sure Pokémon is just like riding a bicycle, you never really forget. But obviously I can't get a platinum trophy for this game, and sure, I could just finish each of them, but I want the thrill that a platinum trophy gives me. And so I set my sights on completing the elusive and downright sadistic Pokémon Nuzlocke challenge. This is a community-made set of rules that drastically changes Pokémon, in my opinion for the better. It brings back that challenge and emotion we felt towards it as a child, with a nice layer of adult depth slapped on top. These are the rules. We must catch each and every Pokémon we encounter on a route. We only get one Pokémon per route, and if it dies, we get nothing. If a Pokémon dies from our party, they are dead forever. Plus, to add some extra challenge for myself, I included the rule that a game over screen is literally game over. Seems simple enough, right? Well, as you can see by the title, I wanted to add even more depth and challenge to this. That's where Pokémon Infinite Fusion comes in. This is a total remake of the first generation with a new story, but more importantly, you can fuse any two Pokémon in the game together to create a totally new Pokémon or abomination. This changes the rules further and means I'm adding 2 rules onto the Nuzlocke rules. Remember rule 1? Well, we need to add onto that each Pokemon we find in a route must be fused with the next caught Pokemon no matter what. For rule 2, if I catch 2 terrible Drowsies and have to fuse them as my 6th member, then find 2 Charmanders, I can't use those Charmanders until I have a free slot on the team. Every member of my team needs to be treated like a child, not a slave I can just swap out. And that means now I can discuss rule 3 of a Nuzlocke. You must name every single Pokemon. Now, because of the funny fusion names, I'm not doing this part. We shall enjoy whatever names the fusion blesses us with. And with that over, there is one last bit of challenge added onto these rules that will make it truly chaotic. And that is that every single Pokemon in the game is now randomized, meaning that I could get a legendary Pokemon as a starter, or I could get a Pidgey. I could fish in the ocean and get a Charmander. There are no limits, both in this game, as well as the game's ability to test me, so let's go find out if I can make it to the end. The starter pick was no question at all for me. Do I want a 2-headed bird, which means something very different in the UK by the way, or a shell with a tongue? No, I think I want the baby dragon. Choosing this immediately reveals the plot twist of this game, as the rival takes both remaining Pokemon and fuses them together, creating Shelduo, a monster whose existence is clearly a tremendous amount of pain. I mean, they're all tongue and wearing knee-high booties. After a very long ordeal of using my only move, Wrap, I eventually do what any good vet would do and put this creature down. Now, for our first Nuzlocke catch, this next patch of grass is vital and decides how good our Dratini will be. Luckily for us, we don't start with Pokeballs, so for now, these rules mean nothing until Pokemon are catchable. After nearly dying to a wild Pokemon, we give Oak his package back. I guess they just drag behind when you're that old. And we both get Pokeballs and Splicers. So now the Nuzlocke begins, and our Dratini will hopefully please not become ugly. And it's Nidoran, of course. I have no choice, but to fuse them and to keep Dratini as the body of the fusion, which gets us Nidotini, which weirdly looks like some guy has a sock puppet. Worst of all though, it lowered his level. Route 2 nets us the Pokemon Sentret. Okay, this is going downhill fast, especially considering my Pokemon are such low levels that wild encounters are near death. And then I have a nice chat from a guy in the Pokemart who gives me a whatever that thing's name is, which fused with Sentret gets us a goth girl's childhood voodoo teddy. Disregarding the bad omens, I head into Viridian Forest, the nest of bugs, where I get our next test subject. Rolls. Finally, something good. Until I destroy its DNA structure, that is. Heading backwards to Route 22, a little side area, I run into the next edition. I make the difficult choice to keep Cubone as the body, and the new fusion is Rowbone, or what looks like Charmeleon with a green bowl cut, some kind of weird vegan protester with a bone, I don't know, it was supposed to look cool. After a fairly easy starting battle against this casual gamer, I head off to a secret garden to catch the next Pokemon. Whilst it absolutely drains my balls, I eventually catch the Farfetch'd, although it sadly can't be fused until I get all the way through Vermilion Forest and its trainers. On the positive side, the max revives and revives in this area can be sold, as Nuzlocke rules don't let me revive, duh. Pokemon dies, they're gone forever, and so I'm now a much richer man. Arriving at Pewter City, I quickly head to Route 3 before the gym to get one last fusion before I face Brock. Followed by the fusion, which gets us, oh lord, oh god, why me? I'm so sorry I birthed you, Farnub. Then, Gym Leader Brock. Limited to only 2 Pokemon, the stakes are very high. Almost immediately, the Digix hits me with Dig, and I realise as my bar rapidly depletes, maybe it's over. I've lost Nidotini, except no, 1 HP left. I heal Nidotini and realise I have to sacrifice Rubone if I see him use Dig. I continue using Double Kick, just hoping, and this is the move that somehow my only Pokemon without feet has, and eventually I do secure a win against Brock. Only just. Heading to the next cave, I run into a guy selling a Magikarp for 500. What is supposed to be a joke is actually a steal when I can get an easy fusion out of this bad boy for cheap. And best of all, it isn't a catch, so I just get a free Pokemon. So I head into the cave and see what we're fusing. And it's Kakuna. Now, this may seem bad, but Beedrill is actually one of my all-time favourites, so I am happy. I'm however not sure what I feel towards Magiuna. Those fishy eyes and that mohawk, you can have anything you want, little guy. Carefully navigating Mount Moon with a few close encounters here and there, we finally get an evolution. Kakuna evolves into a Beedrill, giving us Magidrill and a big pair of lips. We then get that classic monumental Pokemon moment, fossil choice, and naturally I grab Helix because Helix. Exiting Mount Moon, we run into our latest catch, a Shroomish, which shortly later on Route 5 I find a Slugma, giving us the brand new 6th and final member of our team, a way in which we all feel now and then. I spend some time grinding levels and hoping to get stronger, which pays off because Slugma ends up being a powerhouse that carries me through the start of the water gym. Off to heal, I discover an egg. Now, I'm not counting this in Nuzlocke rules because it was given to me. Fight me in the comments if you find it an issue, but I'm not hatching it until I lose a Pokemon anyway, so that's a future randomized good time. Next, I head north to catch a new Pokemon and level up before Misty, and that's where my heart sinks. Because I forgot about my rival. Luckily for us though, Slugma really carries the team with Leech Seed, and this casual gamer's stupid Pidgeotto switches into my Farnub, which then just freezes him and makes quick work. Whilst there is a little bit of work mopping up the rest, with some luck, he eventually goes down, and the first battle heading north changes this Nuzlocke massively. It might not seem it in the footage, but I've been struggling and stressing a lot. Checking types on every single Pokemon, being really careful and grinding against wild encounters, switching out the first sign of damage, but now it changes with this move on Nidotini. Oh, also whatever it's called evolves into okay, I still can't say it, a Goth Sock, alright. Very quickly after this, Nidoran evolves, turning Nidotini into Nidotini. This is huge because now Nidotini is Nidotini, I can use a Moonstone to evolve it even further into Nidotini. Okay, this may seem a little confusing to some of you, but what we are evolving was the Nidoran, which evolved into Nidorino and then Nidoking. This may not be super noticeable until we evolve the Dratini part much later on, if we even make it there. This was sorely needed because my Pokemon are dire. I mean, seriously, my Magidrill just learned Tackle. Looking to catch our next Pokemon on whatever route this is, we find a Roltz. This catch doesn't count due to what's called the dupe clause, which states Pokemon you've already caught don't count in the rules. So we cancel this and we find our next catch, which is a Snubbull. Now that's a pretty cool catch. Maybe if we find a cool Pokemon to fuse it with, we have some hope for the inevitable death that is on its way. Unfortunately, I accidentally attack instead of swapping out my Goth Sock in a random trainer battle. Something about the speed, sometimes you just zone out or forget, and this time it led to a death. So I was definitely right about that inevitable death in my script. After a very short time walking, the egg hatches it's a Clefursa, which puts me in a weird situation. Do I keep the fusion? Do I unfuse it and just pick one? In the end, I decide it's unfair to just get 2 Pokemon for the price of 1. The Snubbull is fairy, so I decide to unfuse it, kill the Clefable and keep the Teddiursa. Fusing them together, we get Snubursa, which once again, yes, I have created a vile monster. It looks like a naked pink Goomba doing the walk of shame out of Mario's apartment. I then head off to Misty, worried but prepared, except it was actually disgustingly easy thanks to Dragon Rage. Honestly, it felt like cheating. But this move won't be strong forever, and eventually there will be another loss. Our catch for Route 6 is our luckiest yet. We finally have a starter and it's Cyndaquil. However, luck just makes me feel like something real bad is about to happen now, you know? Running past Route 11, I head to Route 12 to use a rod and catch a water Pokemon to go with Cyndaquil, which is where I find Poliwag. Fusing them together as a backup, we get... Oh. Determined to find something cooler, I fish in Vermilion City for my catch there, and find Shelder, then straight to what used to be Diglett Cave for a Y-Tortle, which you know what that means, one has got to die and it is definitely not going to be the Wartortle. Unfortunately, with this luck comes the bad, and what used to be the calm Diglett Tunnel is now a hellish place with Y-Nauts using Destiny Bond, and I had no idea what I could do. So I finished it off with Magidrill, which meant its death. I guess we need to welcome a new member, and that member is Sheltortle. At least it was a little bit more generous with a cool Blastoise. With that, I finally move on to SS Anne for some intense training, and hopefully no deaths. We do get another fossil here though, and I choose the Claw fossil. There were definitely a few close calls on this ship, a few Pokemon nearly lost from one-shots, but it was mostly smooth sailing until the casual gamer caught me by surprise, once again. Many close calls happen. First I get unlucky with quite a few misses in a row, then I manage to freeze the Pidgeotto, which immediately escapes the frozen status to nearly kill Farnub. I finally think the worst is over, then a critical hit, 5-hit Fury Cutter. Then I see Manecate, and concerned about a Hyper Fang, I switch into Rowbone, who immediately takes far too big of a hit. Concerned, I go for Sluggish, who I see as a safe switch, but they get knocked down to low HP. I heal up, I use Leech Seed, and I play the long game, hoping to out-heal the Hyper Fangs that just keep getting thrown at me. Thankfully, the enemy uses a very stupid Scary Face. I manage to take the kill and then win. But that was close. I don't think I should have made it out of that. The Thunder Gym isn't that much tougher either, thanks to Farnub's electric immunity and Sluggish being incredibly hard to kill. So much so, it evolves into Slugloom. Like the fool I am, I only just realise I can use teleport to fast travel, so I head off to get my fossils, unfossiled, and fuse the first one, which is a Omanyte, as it is supposed to be, meaning the Claw fossil is Anorith, and together they make Omarith. Now, I actually am not sure, looking back now on the rules with fossils, but I kind of just decided, you know, who cares, who cares. I also find a Waterstone in Cerulean City with Cut, and get our Sheltortle a sexy new pair of legs, making them a Cloytortle. Now, I cut out a lot of content so you don't have a 20-hour video, but even the training I cut out has me in danger. Here, I forget that Nidotini is weak to ground and nearly lose him, and the amount of time something like that happens should be a video in itself. Our next catching on Route 9 is a Shelgon. How lucky. Now, here's one I am very excited about, just assuming we don't get a Pidgey or something next. Then our next evolution, Rowbone turns into, oh god, please get it off my Carbone, get off my screen. And in the same battle, we also get our new Punk Baby Granursa. As I'm running around, I see the power plant and sprint in to hopefully catch an electric Pokemon to go with Salamence. And that's when I see a Voltorb. On the way out, I notice this small patch of grass is its own route, Route 10, where we snag a very cool Phanpy. Things are looking up, except when unfortunately a random trainer gets a critical hit, leading us to lose Farnub. Despite being ugly, I did kinda rely on the little radioactive abomination. Anyway, welcome Voltgon to the team. Inside Rock Tunnel we get our next catch, and it's another epic one alright, we get Totodile. But sadly, we lose Carbone. This is because I thought she outspeeds a Ratnix, a giant rock rat, which is apparently faster than me. Anyway, Carbone is dead. Meaning we need a new teammate. And what helps is when I find a secret little cave where an old man gives me one of the coolest Pokemon, Hone Edge. But sadly we caught the Totodile and Phanpy first, so they get fused together becoming Fandile. Here's a question, what happens if there is a tornado in the UK? Well, this Pokemon is the answer. Once leaving Rock Tunnel, Fandile already evolves into Fenor. I like this one. Route 8. Now, we find out what is this mystery Pokemon that will go with Honedge. The answer is a Nidoran female. Route 7 gets us a Luxio, which luckily for us is another really good Pokemon. I then pop to the local park and just show a child my Nidoteeny, which with some candy I've been saving up for this occasion, turns my Nidoteeny into a Nidonair. Finally. So our first fusion is Nidoran female and Honedge, which gets us Honron. Which, where does that thing plug into a Nidoran female? Fenor surprises us with an evolution to Donor. I kind of accidentally forget and break the rules here a little bit, but I sub out Cloytortle for Honran because I've got a Nidoking and I wanted a Nidoqueen and I just forgot I wasn't supposed to. I don't know how I forgot, but I did. But you guys get it, it's alright. Right? We're cool, stop typing in the comments, it's okay. Afterwards, a lovely man asked to buy my big nugget for more money than I've had in the entire game. Sure thing my guy, I can get you as many big nuggets as you want. We find and beat the fossil guy again to get probably my favourite fossil, the skull fossil for Cranidos. I can't wait to fuse him with a cool Pokemon, please let it be a cool Pokemon. And guys, let me tell you, I don't realise what I'm in store for with this Cranidos. Getting a stranger's pet Eevee ditched onto me means I can fuse it with Luxio, giving us Lovey, who I'd lovey a lot more if they didn't have a weird goatee beard. What I don't lovey at all is running into Casual Gamer. Prepare for a death, everyone. His first Pokemon was simple, as I could just spam Flame Burst. However, his second Pokemon is the start of the end, as his Clodrio gets a critical hit Uproar that kills my current favourite Pokemon in one single move. Due to this, I'm forced to switch to Honrina to resist the normal moves, and slowly I manage to kill it and get revenge. Seeing Starbra, I switch to Granursa to be ready with a Thunderclaw. I then see a Gyarados and think this is my perfect chance for a rollout, as that's normally his weakness. I made a very poor move here. However, the Gyarados can take a lot of hits, and his Thrash outdamages my rollout somehow, leading to the death of Donor. This really sucks. Annoyed I let two Pokemon die, I just switch out to Nidonair and Dragon Breath them all to death. I don't know if I'm bad or unlucky or both, but losing two of my best in one battle hurts So I add Lovey, which I change to Exio by swapping its fusion combo to my party and using a Water Stone to turn it into Vaporeon for our next member. I then head to Route 16 to catch a new Pokemon to combine with Abra, and it's sadly a snake. We lost many and we haven't gained more. I don't want it, but oh well, say hello to Ekra, who definitely sat on something he wasn't supposed to. I decide to take Cinderwag with me temporarily, really just because I pity the vile blob. Don't know why I took it with me because I had no intention of leveling it up or using it, I just apparently really wanted it in my party. But yeah, I technically break the rules and replace this with a Cranidos, sorry. Entering the sewers, we are rewarded with an old friend as our catch, which is perfect because with our fossil we get him back in a new form, a slightly facially deformed new form, but still, welcome, Sheldos. Black Sludge on Nidonair makes him seemingly unkillable. Sadly, this is not so for Slugloom, who gets one hit killed. $59 HP at level 25 is just not cutting it anymore. With one Pokemon down, I run into Giovanni, and he is not messing, with all of his levels far out-leveling me, something I did not expect. His first Pokemon isn't so tough. With Water Pulse, it's quick work, and only made worse by the fact that I flinch. However, using healing items I get lucky, he misses, I get the kill. This second Pokemon is much tougher though. Between damaging moves and dizzying punch, I'm at risk at any second of being confused and dying. I can only use Nidonair or Greninja here first because this Pokemon is such a high level. I'm certain he will one-shot anyone else. And second, because as far as I can work out, this thing is only weak to dark moves. So all I can do is slowly bite my way to victory, healing when I can and hoping. With some luck, I get there, but then there is one more Pokemon, and sadly for me, one more that is weak to both fire and fighting, which the Slugloom I just lost had. So I send in Vaporeon to finish off this last Pokemon, and I take the win against Giovanni. Surprisingly to me, this Vaporeon is absolutely carrying the team. Look who's back on the team, the Pity Blob, though sadly you should feel even more pity for him because again, I never use him, he's there for no reason, I don't plan to use him, I don't plan to level him, he's just there to be replaced. At a nice level 31, this is very good for us. Unfortunately, I have nothing to fuse with this. There is good news though, I find a Moonstone and I use it on Honrina to get the epic Hon Queen. Level 30 is a huge level for us too. Grinding in Sylph Tower, we get Greninja to level 28, which means 2 rare candies to 30, which evolves into Gran Ring. Yeah, not the most flattering name, sorry Grans who are definitely watching this. The Sheldos then gets a rare candy, bringing it to 30 as well. This evolves the Cranidos into Rampardos. Very soon after, we get Vaporeon to 32, which gets us a full level 30 team, which is actually sadly still underleveled by the way, and an evolution into the insanely cool Vaporay, which sadly also sounds like a vape producer. Finally, with the Sylph Tower conquered, we get the Pokeflute and our Route 12 Pokemon to go with Magneton, Snorlax, and with this big chonker we get Magnalax, and I don't know why he has the magnet, probably got it off the fridge. With a full team I'm very happy with, we head off to the grass gym. Unfortunately I forgot to press record on this battle, but it was fairly easy with no losses thanks to my heavily grass resistant team. I did nearly lose Hon Queen as you can see by my party after getting the badge, but Nidonair and Vaporay made it a surf in the ocean. On Route 17 we get our first new catch in a while, and it's the final evolution of an old friend Rolls. We get Gallade. Kinda, I don't think that's where the head should be. Honblade then evolves into Doublade, turning Hon Queen into Duo Queen. It's the next evolution I'm excited for though, and sadly, spoilers, I actually forget that Duo Queen can evolve again, so I never do it. I then catch a Joltik, which, stupid Nuzlocke rules, I have to fuse with Gallade, which creates the worst monstrosity so far. On the plus side, I do find a Misdreavus on Route 18, meaning we have a potentially really good Pokemon for the upcoming Psychic Gym. That is if the Safari Zone is kind to us. And while it wasn't what I was expecting or hoping for, I got a Duskull, which makes our first double type fusion Ghost and Ghost, making Miskull, Another monstrosity, but one I hope will carry me through the Psychic Gym with some training. Another amazing piece of news is finding the EXP All. Not having to use the Pokemon I want to level up now is great, and it makes grinding so much easier. It also meant I got to meet the best named Pokemon so far, the brother of the famous magician Houdini. Fartini. I eventually start the Psychic Gym battle fully aware that a Pokemon will die. Specifically, I was worried about Nidonair leading the charge. Whilst he can do a lot of damage with his dark move Sucker Punch, one psychic move could knock him down to death. And if it's a crit, he's definitely gone. So instead I put Magnalax up front, not expecting much, except he ends up doing some good damage and tanking a self-destruct that would have killed Nidonair like it was nothing. Though sadly the enemy gets a critical hit on a move that he normally would have been fine with, leading us to our first death. Vaporay has an easy round using Thunderfang on whatever happens if you throw vapes into your local lake. The rest of the battle is a breeze for Nidonair, who takes little to no damage from these poison types that are invading this Psychic Gym. And with that death, we welcome back onto the team your favourite pity Pokemon who will definitely never get used once again. And I mean that because stepping outside shocked me with a rival battle against the casual gamer. The start of this encounter is a breeze with Nidonair Dragon Raging his way through the team. The next Pokemon is a worry though. It's a Staryu and Alakazam fusion. The only Pokemon I know of to be a safe pick here is Miskull, but I'm not sure I trust Miskull in a fight yet. Despite this, I throw them in. I start off with a Confuse Ray, hoping it will slow down his psychic moves and whittle it down with Hex, which leads us to a smooth kill. Lastly, Cloydrio, and with it being 4 times weak to electric, I'm certain Vaporay will end this quickly, very quickly. What's even better though is that I am offered a Johto starter. Naturally, I went with Feraligatr because dinosaur lizards are the coolest. Yes, I was a dinosaur kid. Once Miskull hits level 37, they turn into the much more ugly and balding Misclops. Don't worry though, I'm sure it will look better once I find a Dusk Stone. Pokemon always get cooler when they're stoned. I started to get a bit concerned at this point because, do I dare say it, the game was feeling a bit easy. Yeah, I felt over-leveled and strong, like nothing could take me down. I loved my team, and except maybe Shelados, thought they were all unstoppable. It's really nice and refreshing that the humour in this game is pretty good. We also get to see Weecarp, which already sounds funny, but if you're Scottish, it's a wee Weecarp. Where are the Scottish Pokémon Nuzlockers? Where are they? Beating a fake fighting type gym with ease, I get given a choice of 3 fighting types to fuse with Totodile, and I choose Tototop, mostly because I knew it would be ridiculous having the Feraligatr head upside down on this tiny underweight body. Ascending Silphco to stop Team Rocket rewards, as if this is a reward, with a fight against all 3 legendary birds fused into one. Fear is immediately instilled into me when this happens. However, after a potion and a use of Aqua Ring, I stay healed up enough to use Muddy Water and eventually take the win. The reward for beating Giovanni is first a Lapras, then the 6th gym unlocking, which whilst on the way I find an invisible Kecleon that joins the team, creating a Pokemon I hope I never have to use. When it comes to the gym, well, it doesn't start off the greatest. The plan was to use Swords Dance to make my Duo Queen crazy strong and one-shot their way through the gym using dark moves. Well, first I get put to sleep constantly, making me unable to even attack. And then, the second Pokemon is Dark type, so my plan wouldn't work. From this point on, it's a breeze, switching to Vaporay and using Crunch to end the battle. Unbelievably, reaching level 50, Rampardos finally evolves from Shelgon to Salamence, a feat I honestly thought we would never get to see after losing. And boy is he a beautiful heavy hitter with a whopping 185 attack, way higher than the rest of my team. On Route 19 we find a Vaporeon, and while the Duke Clause says I could skip it, I'd be okay with a second for a cool fusion. A few steps to the left, skipping Route 2, we unluckily get that cool fusion, For the love of all things holy in the world, I am so sorry, viewers. I am so sorry I have to do this. Then, inside Mount Ember, thanks to my smart move using Repel, I find my way to a Magmar, which I catch. Seeing Moltres and what looks like a boss battle below me, I make the decision to put Duo Queen first and use Swords Dance to prepare for any tough enemies, and it's lucky I do. I encounter a Team Rocket executive with some hard-hitting moves. However, using this electric enemy as the moment to keep using Sword Dance, I end up running into their Articuno Zapdos fusion, which I just one-shot kill, meaning a cleverly done fight, or at least I feel it was clever, considering I'm a bit of a Pokemon noob. The best part though, we get the Moltres, and on the way back I find a Pupitar on Kindle Road, so let's get these fusions done. First, Vaporeon and Magmar make Vapormar, and then we get our replacement for Magnezone with Moltres and Pupitar, which makes It is looking a little weird, but let him cook. Inside Pokemon Mansion, we get another Luxio too. What can I say, I like the dog Pokemon. Reaching the end of the Pokemon Mansion has us run into an old man creeping around down there with just a floor mat I don't even want to know. What I do know though is that the Fire Gym is next, which we can only hope Vaporade carries us through. Which is true. Until... The rest of this gym leader battle goes smoothly. I use Perish Song to force out the killer Pokemon, or else it dies. Then I switch to Salados, making him stronger by using Ancient Power on The best part is the leader heals, allowing me to keep using Ancient Power and get strong enough to one-shot my way through the gym, securing us our 7th badge. We are nearly there, though the loss of Vaporate really stings deep. I actually, even after playing the game now and recording this dialogue and editing, I genuinely miss that Pokemon. At least we have a few Vaporeon choices, and obviously I go for Vaporchum, duh, which immediately evolves into Vaporks, with beautiful golden locks to boot, but of course the Jinx fusion has to have that word in the middle. Then during the next fight, Misclops evolves into Miss Noir. I then run into someone who gives me a Dust Stone, which I stupidly use on Miss Noir to turn it into Miss Manoir. Gosh, that is a lot of words. I could have used this on Honqueen to evolve, but oh well. Then we get the little plot twist that unlocks the 8th gym. Giovanni, leader of Team Rocket, is actually the 8th gym leader. After teaching him that crime doesn't pay, we go off to teach him one last lesson. Except with this being a ground gym, it's not looking good, as all my Pokemon except the newest extremely weak one are weak to ground, meaning I am in trouble. So grinding XP in Johto, we get an amazing Piplup. If only this was before I started leveling this Smoochum. With the Mistress of the Ocean Vaporks on my team, the ground gym is a breeze. I easily surf my way through the gym until eventually Vaporks is too low to finish off the leader's final Pokemon. It's then an easy case of switching to Miss Manoir and using Perish Song, as they can't swap, for an easy gym finish. If I didn't level Vape, I'm not saying that name anymore, I'm not saying it. If it wasn't for that Pokemon, this gym would have been impossible, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Next up, the Pokemon League, a challenge I'm not confident I will actually be able to do, but regardless I go off. That is until I face one last battle against the casual gamer. He is not an issue though. I have one Pokemon that counters anything he has, and one by one they go down without an issue. But you know, this isn't my concern, because this is the calm before the Elite Four storm. And finally, after a long time of somehow surviving, Nidonair evolves into Nido Knight, our starter finally reaching his potential. The question is if we will make it through the Elite Four though. Mortar's final evolution has to help. Introducing Molitar. After a painful time in the victory road, encountering a wild battle every 3 steps forwards, we finally reach the Elite Four and find out if this entire video amounts to something, or if I am just a Pokemon failure. Lorelei is a tough trainer as water really messes up my team. I start with Vaporks and slowly surf down the lethal Magong. This wasn't so bad. Next was a Weaving Lapras, and I had no idea who to switch to. Ultimately, I chose Nidonite simply because he's a monster, and Dragon Rush should make quick work of it. However, Lorelei switches to Manbro, so I switch to Miss Manoir and finish it off with a Shadow Ball. Not too bad so far, my nerves are stabilising. Lorelei switches back to Weirus, so I switch back to Nidonite for the kill. Next up is Jingrowth, which, you hear Jinx and Growth and you just think fire. Then it's Tentacaster, and with every final Pokemon, Miss Manoir makes this easy with Peril Song. It's then just about waiting out their death. 1 elite down, with some difficulty. 3 more to go. Bruno. You see fire everywhere and you just assume he's a fire guy, right? Wrong. His first Pokemon is Electric Fighting. Luckily I have Miss Manoir, who can just confuse and slowly whittle down most Pokemon. Steel Champ is the next Pokemon, which I figure fighting is a good bet. Wrong. Whatever move Submission is, it destroys Duo Queen. So I switch over to Nidonite and finish it off. I'm learning quickly that if in doubt, Nidonite. After healing up, I eventually get the kill. Then I see Marrow-chan, and one thing I've learned during this Nuzlocke is that if you see Chan or Marrow, you use water against it. Sadly though, whatever Bone Club is, it absolutely annihilates Vaporks. No surprise there. Next is Cycross, whatever, a lethal Pokemon that can one-shot any one of my Pokemon. So whilst this is a bit cheesy, my only hope here is to just keep healing and hope that he doesn't use that one-shot move so that I can then finish him off with Nidonite, which eventually this does happen. Lastly is Magnanix. Unconfidently, I switch to Molitar to get off a Fire Blast, which works flawlessly and Bruno goes down. Though I'm now at the point where I'm not sure I deserve to be alive. I feel like I'm just lucking my way through it. Then Agatha, the third of the Elite Four. But actually Agatha was shockingly easy compared to the first two. Nidonite could take out every single Pokemon with ease just using Sucker Punch or Dragon Breath. Somehow I've made it to the end. I've made it to Drake with all my Pokemon. It feels wrong, almost impossible, but I did. My heart starts absolutely racing, but I buckle in knowing if I can win this battle, I have done it. Losses don't matter, all that matters is victory now. Now Drake, my major plan is to get through this by capitalising on the 2 dragons that I've been sitting on this entire playthrough. There were some battles, they were useless. Shelgon in particular was just basically a giant level 50 Metapod. But now these dragons are strong, and dragons do 2 times damage to dragons. Nidonite proved this with a one-shot Dragon Rush. Next up is a tricky one though, I see Toganite. So I figure I'll use Nidonite's poison to take him out, which does great damage. 1 or 2 more and I was not happy. I really wanted Nidonite to make it, and I'm sure you guys did too if you've made it this far. So to teach this monster a lesson, I switched to Duo Queen and I took advantage of my resistances to power up with Sword Dance and then annihilate every single Pokemon he has with ease. Toganite is the first to go down with a Body Slam, but sadly the following Typhonaire is much faster and teaches me a valuable lesson. 2 of my favourite Pokemon are gone. Molitar gets revenge with an ancient power, readying itself to melt the new Pterodactyl. However, our legendary gets killed. Knowing I can't take any more losses, I risk it all with Vaporks to finish it off with a Surf. For this last Pokemon, I go for my classic move, Peril Song, and wait it out. Except Porydra teaches me a lesson for that The peril song goes off though, and with that one last move and 2 surviving Pokemon, I claim the win. I lost a lot, but I did it. I am the Pokemon League champion, except I'm not, because my dumb self forgot the plot twist from childhood that my rival, the casual gamer, had already snuck in here and claimed championship, and that I had actually one more literally impossible battle if I wanted victory. I mean, I knew it, you know it, yeah, it's just not gonna happen. Drake left me with just 2 Pokemon. The amazing dragon type, sure, but then it's Vaporeonks. I mean, it doesn't even sound good to say, but I had to try. I had to really give it my best and see how much damage I could do to this Pokemon champion if I'm going to lose this Nuzlocke. If this video is going to end here with a total wipe, then I'm going to do it with honour. The battle starts with Vaporeonks making quick work of Marowguyot, whatever that name is, with Surf. Next up, Ripe Mortar, and Vaporeonks surprisingly somehow does it again. Next, I see Electados, which I know Vaporeonks has no chance against, so I switch to Salados, and hope I can Dragon Claw my way to a kill. After many healing items from both sides, I secure the kill with one final Dragon Claw. Next up is a problem, Starkazam. The Psychic will ruin Salados, probably one-shot kill him, so I have to use Vaporeonks. She can take hits from Starkazam, but the damage is not there, meaning that all I can do is slowly chip away at his health as he heals over and over. But I have a plan. To play the long game, Vaporeonks has Water Absorb, making water moves heal her. So, if I can have this guy use up his very little PP on Psychic, then Vaporeonks can't be killed. The AI recognises this and switches out to their other Pokemon Tortor, which I again don't really have the moves to beat. So, I ring out to take a chunk of the max health away and then use a few Surfs to finish it off. Then it's Cloydrio. Oh boy, another water Pokemon that Salados can't go near. Regardless, I just risk it all and hope that I can get off an ancient power. Luckily for me, the Cloydrio uses Fly and I get a massive hit off. I take my chances, you know, hoping I can take the hit from one water move and go for another ancient power, and I get lucky because he uses Fly again. And there's the kill. All that's left now is Starkazam, and with no damaging moves, that means, you guessed it, with one. All this takes is just getting a final hit with Surf, and that's the Nuzlocke, somehow, miraculously, with a lot of deaths completed. I honestly didn't think I could do it. I am by no means a Pokemon pro. The last Pokemon game I really gave time to was Omega Ruby and Sapphire, and now a new journey started and ended with Pokemon Infinite Fusion, an excellent fan game that has reignited my love for Pokemon in a way I did not expect. The game treats us to a little bit more after the credits. First we get given a Charmander, then a starter of our choice, I chose Cyndaquil, as well as a rumour of a legendary Pokemon in the Johto region. So viewers, if you want a new Nuzlocke in Johto, with our surviving Pokemon and maybe even a new rule where I can only fuse starters or single types such as Fire, or I do a Nuzlocke of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, just let me know, I will do it. And you can tell me what to do with Empoleon, Charmander, Cyndaquil and Luxio while you're at it. Thank you for watching, Perfectionists, and here's hoping we get together for another Pokemon challenge in the future.